פרק שישי, טרקטט שקלים, הלכה ד' the Mishnah, דף י"ח, page 18. 13 שופרות היו במקדש. It was a horns, we explained several times, that it was in the courtyard of the temple. וכתוב עליהם, and it's written on them, תקלין חדתין ותקלין עתיקין. You notice that one of the commentaries or this tractate is called Taklin Chadetin, and it's, I think the origination is from here. So those kupot, those vessels, it was the new Shekalim. It's like the coin, like now in Israel they have the coin shekel. Mm-hmm. So on the first shofar, the first horn, it was it's written the new one, and the second one was written the old one, Taklin Atikin. Atik, it's like ancient, old. Kinin, the third one, was written for the kinin. Kinin is the pair of birds, as we explained, it's part of the offering. Vegozlei ola, this is the next one that was the fleeting designated for burnt offering. And eitzim, the fifth one has the wood. Then levona, so the sixth one. Then we have the seven zahav lakaporet, zahav, the gold donated for the art cover. Shisha, six. The left, as we said, is altogether 13. So the six of the rest of the horn, lindava. It's a free will offering, which is the communal free will offering. Now the Mishnah explains the designation of the first four shofarot. Taklin chadetin, the one that carries the new money, the new shekalim, שבכל שנה ושנה, that each and every year people donated for מחצית השקל, so they put in that shofar. We explained several days ago that was 3 times a year. They used the תרומה ללשכה to put the money. ועתיקין, מי שלא הביא אשתקד, שוקל לשנה הבאה. The old one who all is in arrear for מחצית השקל from the previous year, so he put in that shofar the money. Kinin hen torin. So here again the Mishnah elaborate of the previous statement. So they said that applied to the pair bird. So they buy only the large one. And the one who have the free will to give, he put the money in that horn. וגוזלי עולה הן בני יונה. So bnei yona is a small one. So that's the money they bring for the offering, burnt offering. Kulan, both of the horns, which is the kinin and the gozle ola, olot, so they give for the free will, but the kinei chova, that is obligatory, that doesn't have any vessels that carry it, because if one owe it, the Rosh explained, he give it directly in the hand of the Kohen. Later the Gemarrah explain it. דברי רבי יהודה, והחכמים אומרים, no, the horn that is written the word kinin, that's the one that people bring the kinei chova, אחד חטאת ואחד עולה. The sages said there's no difference between a pair offering torim and bnei yona. They all has to put there. And gozlei ola kulan olot. The rest, it's a nedava. So it means, according to the sages, it wasn't a separate shofarot for torim and special separate shofarot for bnei yona. Now, the Mishnah deal with the goal of the rest of the three shofarot, Eitzim, Levona, and Zahav Lakaporet we mentioned earlier. So the truth is, in the Tractate Menachot, page 106b, there is a clear explanations. Here, they just want to elaborate what money they use for that shofarot. Haomer harei al ha'etzim. If someone accept upon himself that this wood is going to be for the Beit HaMikdash, lo yifchot mishnei gzirin. So it's not less than the 2 cut of wood that they put it at the time of bringing the daily offering. Since he used the term eitzim, which is a plural, so it has to be at least 2. So now, levona, lo yifchot mikometz. Hold it, that's the amount of levona. Zahav, so he commit himself for gold, lo yifchot midinar zahav. Needs to have at least the dinar, that's the minimum amount. Shishalin dava. Nedava ma yosim, but now we go back to the previous statement, and we ask the free will, what exactly they do with that? Lokchim bal olot. So what they do, they use it to purchase animal burnt offering. Habasar lashem, the meat is for the offering was offered in the altar to Hashem, to God. The orot lakohanim, and the hide was given to the kohanim. Now, ze midrash darash Yehoyada Kohen Gadol. This midrash was taught by Yehoyada, who was the time high priest, Kohen Gadol. There is an apparent contradiction between the two verses. With regard to the guilt offering, the verse states in Vayikra in Leviticus 5, Asham hu Ashom, Asham la Hashem. It is a guilt offering. He is certainly guilty before God. So that's the indication that guilt offering goes to Hashem, not the Kohen. However, in a different verse, they said in Leviticus 7, as is the sin offering, so is the guilt offering. There is a one law for them. The Kohen who makes atonement with it, he shall have it. So what you see here, that's for the Kohen. So how can we reconcile the contradiction of the two? So the answer, it says, Ze haklal. This is the basic principle. Kol shehu ba mishum chatat u'mishum ashma. Any money, any funds that comes due to a sin offering or due to a guilt offering, which means if you have a leftover coins that designated for one of these offerings, so he said, Yilakach bahen olot. We purchase for that a burnt offering. Habasar lashem va'orot lakohanim. So the meat part is for God, and the hides go to the kohanim. Nimtzeu shnei chtuvim kayamim. Now we reconcile the two psukim that appear contradictory. Asham la Hashem, ve'asham la Kohen. A guilt offering to Hashem and a guilt offering to a Kohen. Kohen is by the hides. Ve'omer, and that's what the pasuk said in Book of Kings, chapter 12, that what Yehoyada did in Beit HaMikdash, that's the end of one of the haftarot, kesef asham, vechesef chataot, the guilt offering money and the sin offering money, lo yuva Beit Hashem, was not brought into the house of Hashem, la kohanim yiyu, it will be for the kohanim, which means what left over for the money of the sin offering and the guilt offering, it's not go to a temple maintenance. They should purchase something that the kohanim can derive benefit from it. Which means this applied to the burnt offering, that the hides go to the Kohanim, and for sure we're not speaking about the real offering, we talk about the money that designated for that. So money that left from the sin offering and guilt offering, we put in these 6 horns, and the Kohanim purchase them for Keitz HaMizbeach, which means to put on the altar when they voluntarily have this offering of individual, in order to avoid the situation that the Mizbeach, the altar, has no use. Tanya. Now we go to the Gemarrah. Amar Rabbi Yehuda, לא היה שופר של כלים בירושלים מפני התערובות. He said that there was no collection horn for pairs of bird in a temple in Yerushalayim due to the mixtures. So explain what does that mean. Shema tamut achat, one of the ladies that brings the money and put it in a horn, before the Kohanim offer her offering, what happened is she is no longer among the living, so her sin offering is no longer valid for offering, and even the money that was donated, you need to get rid of that. ונמצאו. So what's the result? דמי חטאות מתות מעורבות בהם. The funds for sin offering left to die are mixed with the rest of the money in the horn. So therefore, והתניא, so we learn in the Brayta, האישה שאמרה הרי עליי כן, מביאה דמי כן ונותנו בשופר. If a woman come and she accept upon herself and she said that I commit myself to bring a pair of birds, that she bring the fund for the purchase of a pair of to Beit HaMikdash and places them in that collection of horns, and then she can duck herself in the mikveh. ח' עמוד ב' 18b, ואוכלת קודשים, in the evening, as the Gemarrah tells us in Eruvin 32, then after she is ritually immersed, then she can eat for consecrated food. ואינה חוששת, she will not have a concern, שמא נתעצל בהן. Maybe the Kohen was lazy from bringing the daily offering, and she may not ready to eat from consecrated item. Why? Because the Bet Din has a rule that you don't do it until is a completion from everyone that used the entire money in that horn. Why? Because the people who are mechusarei kapara was not completed the process, cannot eat the consecrated item in the evening. ואין הכהן חושש, the Kohen should not have a concern, שמא דמי חטאות מתות מעורבות בהם. Maybe sin offering that goes to die is mixed, which means the fear is that may one of those lady no longer among the living, she placed the money in that horn, and the mixture of the offering is there with the others. So she basically hold that all the money is there. So since we do not say clearly in the Brayta that Rabbi Yehuda disagree with that, it means that he hold that rule. So how you say that the reason for Rabbi Yehuda that wasn't a shofarot for the obligatory kinim, that's maybe one of the owner of that money passed. So the Gemarrah said, Ki ka'amrinan. When we say that Rabbi Yehuda is concerned about it, that's applied to what? Bechataot shemetu be'alehem vadai. That's apply sin offering that you know clearly that the owner passed. So Rabbi Yehuda concerned that may it appear that one, in other words, we know clearly that one of the ladies that put the money in that horn passed, and then, guess what? The whole money that collected in that horn, you have to get rid of that. You cannot use it. So, therefore, he said, for kinei chova, when it's obligatory, you cannot put it in that horn, in that box. But as long as we know that our least is not known to us, that someone passed away, one of the lady that put there, even Rabbi Yehuda hold that we not have any concern for that. So therefore, even according to Rabbi Yehuda, if it happens that one of the money was put, money that's supposed to be obligatory money, ken chova, and they put it in a place of nedava, that is a free will, the Kohanim still bring it. So the Gemarrah asks, ve'i amrinan, nivro arba zugei v'nishdei ba'ada ve'itach lishtu. Let's just a few words on Breira. We explained several times what is a Breira because it's appeared several times in the Talmud. I want to refresh our memories. The concept in Talmud in Breira mean, do you considering a retroactive act? It's something that apply in advance, which means since something happened now, are you going back? And you said that was already set up in advance. In that case, we may say that Rabbi Yehuda is concerned, may happen that later we discover that one of the people that put the money in that horn is passed away. So why you should concern that the entire box of the money, all this money in the horn, should throw away? He says, guess what? The price for one single offering is 4 zuzim. So guess what? Since we have a retroactive understanding, retroactive brera, that this is the money of the sin offering that the owner passed away, guess what? Pull your hands inside that box, pull out 4 zuzim, 4 coins, throw them out, and the rest is fine. What's the problem? Just take these 4, throw them to the river, because you cannot use them, and use the rest. So the Gemarrah said, Amrinan be'alma, Rabbi Yehuda leit brera. Rabbi Yehuda, we said is not whole that it can have a retroactive designation. So Rabbi Yehuda said a doubtful state of affair cannot be clarified retroactively. So therefore, one cannot resolve the problem by setting aside these 4 zuz and throw them to the river, and there was no horn for obligatory pair of birds. Now, we said in the Mishnah that if someone said upon me that the wood part, so since he used the term eitzim, which is a plural, so it has to be at least 2. So Rabbi Yosa bei Rabbi Bun, Omar Rabbi Ba bar Mamal Bae, Amar hare alai etz. If someone said in a singular manner that is just one piece of wood, mevi gezer echad, he needs to bring only one log. Omar Rabbi Lazar matnita amara ken. He said the Mishnah said so, which means the Mishnah provides solution for our dilemma. How? שזה קורבן בפני עצמו, וזה קורבן בפני עצמו. That this log was offering to itself, and the other one too. So since each log was separate offering, one may donate even a single log. כדהי דתנינן תמן. The one that we learned there in the Tractate Yoma, page 26b, in regards to the daily offering, שניים בידם שני גזרי עצים, if you have two kohanim that they hold 2 logs of wood for the arrangement, each one holding 1 log in his hand, So it means we learn from that each log was a separate offering, for each was held by a different kohen. So he said, "Vekorban lerabot et ha'etzim." So we learn the word offering, bring, because the Torah said in Vayikra in Leviticus chapter 2, "V'nefesh ki takriv korban mincha la'Hashem." So we derive from that include the wood, which is also referred to an offering later. They said in the book of Nehemiah chapter 10, "V'agoralot hipalnu al korban ha'etzim," that we cast lot, meaning the Kohanim and the Leviim and the people, for the wood offering. So the phrase "anyone" teaches that even an individual can pledge wood. So now we said this is the measure of that. Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi amar, Ovyan amar, be'ama shucheket, ve'orkan be'ama gduma. He said that the thickness of the wood was a cubit of the expanded cubits, and the length was measured by the shortened cubits. Rabbi Chone b'shem Rabbi Ami kemin tuteni, is tutani. So he said that the measurement of the thickness is on a scale, which means exactly 1 cubit. אומר רב שמואל ברב יצחק, לפי שלא היה מקום המערכה, אלא מה למה? Because the arrangement on the bronze altar built by Moshe Rabbeinu was only 1 cubit by cubit. לפיכך, and therefore the length of the log, לא היה בו אלא אמה קדומה, was only a shortened cubit, as it will otherwise produce from the arrangement. V'tanei ken, and was likened taught in a Braita, Ama hayesod, the base of the altar made by Moshe Rabbeinu, Ama sovev, the surrounding ledge was a cubit, Ama charkuv, the rim a cubit, ve'ama kranot, the corners a cubit, ve'ama ma'aracha, and the breach of the place of the arrangement was likewise a cubit. Levona, lo yifchot komets, that's what he said in Mishnah, is no less than a handful. Ne'emar kan, now bring the source. The Torah said in Leviticus 24, azkara, it's written, ונתתה על המערכת לבונה זכה והייתה ללחם לאזכרה. So what does that mean, לאזכרה? So azkara in short is a memorial. So he said, מה azkara אמור כאן? The same way as in the mincha offering. So they said there has to be melo komets, which means that there has to be a handful. Af azkara אמור כאן melo komets. It's the same one that we said here with regard to the mincha. It has to be melo komets. Belevona that we put in the shubret should be melo komets. Ima le'alan shnei kumatzin, if just as the memorial part of the state said in the shubret must be 2 handfuls for each arrangement of bread, the same way afkan shnei kumtzin. So too the term memorial part states here has to be what? 2 handfuls. So you see here a contradiction. Amar Rabbi Ila, Rabbi Ila said, Klum lamdu lakomets ela miminchat chote. We derive the measurement of a handful only from a meal offering of chote, of the sin, the offering of the sinner. How? Ma lehalan, the same way as there. In the case of meal offering of a sinner, pasul is incomplete, handful is invalid. Afkan, this is a levuna that we combine with the shewbread. Kometz hechaser pasul. We said that incomplete handful should be invalid. So what do we derive from this? Omar Rabbi Yosa, Milta de Rabbi Ila Amara. From the statement of Rabbi Ila, we derive that what? Hamitnadev levona. One who donates incense, mevi'ah bekumtzo shel Kohen Gadol, bring it according to the measure of the handful of Kohen Gadol, who has the largest hand. Rabbi Chizkiah, בשם רבי ירמיה, ואפילו בקומץ הבעלים. One who donates incense can approximate the handful of any Kohen and even use the handful of the owner. Then we said, Zahav lo yifchot. If someone pledged gold without specifying the amount that must donate no less than dinar of gold, Amar Rabbi Lazar. Rabbi Lazar said, Vehu shizkir tzura. This is if they mention a form by saying, it is incumbent upon me to bring gold coin. Aval lo izkir tzura. However, if he's not mentioned form, he just said, I commit myself to bring gold. It wasn't any specifications. So he said, Mevi afilu tzinura, which means he bring even a very small hook of gold of any size, but he can make a small one, like a fork, things like that. You can do it. The Taklin Chadatin Korban Ha'edah said that the fork is the smallest size of utensils that used in Beit HaMikdash, and what do? They take the part of the offering, and like you're doing a barbecue, you turn them in both sides, so it can be, it will be easy to digest by people, by the owner. Shisha lindava. So then we said at the end of the Mishnah that the rest of the 6 horns used to be for the free offering. Why we have to have 6? Chizki Amar keneged shisha bate avot. So he said that it is 2 for the other one is the 6 horns. It's for the 6 head of families of the Kohanim that serve in Beit HaMikdash each week. So you have each for every Bet Av, head or quarter of a family, in order to avoid any conflict. We mentioned several times that the Kohanim divided to 24 different shifts. Each of them serve in Beit HaMikdash 1 week. Each shift divided to 6 Batei Av, each and every day of the week, and the Shabbat all the Kohanim serve together. So each Beit Av has the right over consecrated item, and also for the hide of the burnt offering that it brings in that day. So since the money, the purchase for that burnt offering, it's apply only when you don't use the altar, which means that in a certain days, when you have a small amount of offering by individual, so you bring a voluntarily burnt offering from that money that collected in those horns, and the hides that left, so the Kohanim ate that day, and the rest of the days, when if they brought individual offering, so the voluntary offering was not offered together with them. So it means that the Kohanim on that day will not have anything from the hides, and therefore it can be some type of jealousy and fights between them. So that's the reason why they designate it in such a way. Bar Bdaya Amar keneged 6 behemot. This applied, Bar Bdaya said 6 horns correspond to the 6 type of animals from which burnt offering can be brought: par, ve'egel, ve'sa'ir, ayil, gdi, ve'taleh. bulls, calves, goats, rams, kids, and a lamb. So each collection of the horn was for the fun designated for a particular type of animal. Shmuel said, Keneged Shisha Korbanot, they correspond to the 6 obligatory offering, whose leftover funds were used for the purchase of the burnt offering. So he said, Kinei Zavim veKinei Zavot Kinei Oldot. So the pair of birds offer in the purification ritual of Zav, pair of bird of Zavah. Number 2, pair of birds for a woman after childbirth. Number 3 was Chataot, the sin offering. Number 4, guilt offering. 5, meal offering of a sinner. And 6, Asirit HaEphah, the 10th part of the Ephah, brought each day by the Kohen Gadol as a meal offering. Omar Rabbi Yochanan, he explained Rabbi Yochanan, there are different reasons why they need these horns. על ידי שהנדבה מרובה, ריבו לה שופרות הרבה. So because there are many wheel offering, so they add many horns in order to make sure that the money coin will not mitapesh, it's like not used, because if they collect too much coin and it's staying there for a long time, guess what happened to money that you leave in a box for long time? It's attached to each other, it's very hard to divide them, and it carries something around them. What is called? Like something that like something like spoiled food if you have together for a long time. It's the same, you see this color around those coins that that carries
like tarnish or
something like that. So that's the reason they put many horns, so the money that stay there will not carry that issue. That's Rabbi Yochanan's opinion. Since the Mishnah mentioned the statement from Yehoyada, the high priest, so now we deal with more point what Yehoyada said. So Ktiv, they said in the Chronicles, chapter 24, Uchechalotam, when they finished doing the preparation for the Mikdash, Heviu lifnei HaMelech, they brought before the king, ויהוידע את שאר הכסף ויעשהו כלים לבית השם כלי שרת. So in other words, when they met in an end, they brought the rest of the money before the king and Yehoyada, for which they made vessels for the house of Hashem, even vessel used for the Beit HaMikdash service. So we explain as follows. Rabbi Shimon bar Nachman b'shem Rabbi Yonatan Amar, shtei nedavot hasa. He said that Yehoyada made 2 chests for 2 different type of voluntarily donation. He said one for the use for Bedek HaBayit, for the maintenance of the Beit HaMikdash, and the other was for the free offering. He learned it from the contradictions between the 2 Pesukim. One is the book of Kings and one is the book of Chronicles, because in the book of Kings they said, ויקח יהוידע כהן אהרון אחד ויקוב חור בדלתו ויתן אותו אצל המזבח מימין. So it's one way. And then the Chronicles said, ויאמר המלך ויעשו אהרון אחד ויתנו בשער השם חוצה. So one pasuk applied that it was inside the temple, and the other one they said that it was outside. So here we need Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachman that explained that it was basically 2 different aronot in 2 different places. So each one served for different type of voluntarily donation. 19, there's a different opinion. Tanei dever Rabbi Ishmael. Nedava achat, Yehoyada made only 1 offering, which means only 1 aron that's used for nedava. The Chtiv, they said in Chronicle, chapter 24, Vayomer HaMelech, Vayasu aron echad. He said that the king commanded that they should make a chest. So we have specifically the statement that Yehoiada made only one chest. So since they said in the book of King, Vayitneu ba'echal bet Hashem vaykovcho bedalto, so he said that that's not continuation of that line in the book of Kings, but that's application to what we said book of Chronicles, but that's application to a book of Kings. So the Gemarrah did not bring the language of that pasuk, but the meaning. The pasuk said, "Vayikach Yehoiada Kohen aron echad, vayikov cho bedalto, vayiten oto etzal hamizbeach miyamin," which is all singular expression how he did. Vayhadechtiv, and what it's written in Chronicles 24. Vayomer hamelech vayasur aron echad vayitnu b'shar ze bet Hashem chutza, which means that that's applied to the chest outside of Beit HaMikdash, because they said, so the king commanded that they made a chest and set it without at the gate of the house of God. So it's clearly that its additional chest was placed outside of Beit HaMikdash. So the meaning that the chest we mentioned in the book of King, it was inside, it's not the same one that was inside in a sanctuary, but in addition one that was outside. So here you see a contradiction between the two. Amar Rav Huna said, no, the truth is it was one chest. Yehoiada originally put it inside the Beit HaMikdash. But then the king said you should put it outside. Why is that? Mipnei atmeim, because was those people who have carries ritually impurity. So since they cannot enter the Beit HaMikdash, people who are attached to a corpse or attached to creeping animals, so they cannot enter the camp of the divine providence, but they allowed to go to the Levi's area. So that's the reason they put it there. There are those who said it was two separate chests, but they use both for the same voluntarily offering, and the additional chest was not for the ritually impure, but it's all considering one chest. So again, you see here several different views what exactly involved. It was total one or it was several one, and Rav Yosef just ruled according to the first opinion. Rabbi Huna b'shem Rav Yosef, he said you cannot say that was only one al shem, because the pasuk said over there in the book of Kings, ach lo yaseh beit Hashem סיפות כסף, מזמרות, מזרקות, חצוצרות, כל כלי זהב וכלי כסף מן הכסף המורב את השם, כי לא שם לך יתנו וחזקו בו את בית השם. So he said clear, but they were not made for the house of the Lord, cups of silver, etc., snuff. So it's applied to all the repairs of the Beit HaMikdash, not for making sacred serving vessels. So it's referred to a different chest, so that, and the separate free will offering. So it means that Rav Yosef hold that it was two separate chests. Though the one was a book of Kings, used for Bedek HaBayit, for what? For temple maintenance. The second one, they said in the book of Chronicles, they used for Klei Sharet, for those vessels used to Beit HaMikdash. Adran alach perek 13 שופרות. רמב"ם, ספר עבודה הלכות מעשה הקורבנות, chapter 16. הרי על העצים לא יפחות משני גזירים. One who donates wood to בית המקדש must give no fewer than 2 logs that are a cubit long and as wide as the tool used to level the se'ah measure. הרי עלי לבונה, one who donates לבונה to בית המקדש must give no less than handful. Now we said also, ואינה חוששת שמא נתעצל, that's the Rambam, הלכות מחוסרי כפרה. A woman after childbirth and a zava bring their funds to a Beit HaMikdash and place them in their horn specified for that purpose. After ritual immersion, she is permitted to eat consecrated food that evening, as may assume that her purification offering was sacrificed. Harei alai etz, one who pledges wood to the Beit HaMikdash must bring a log 1 cubit in length. If he prefers, he may instead donate the value of this log. That's Rambam, Hilchot Maaseh HaKorbanot, chapter 16. Now, we said also in someone Vahushi Kizkir Tzura, if one said, I commit upon myself, it's incumbent upon me to bring silver, or it is incumbent upon me to bring gold, without mentioning the word coin. So he's obligated to bring silver or gold as follows. He adds to the measure until he can definitely state, I did not intend to bring that much. So the halacha is according to the opinion of Rabbi Lazar, and it's basically a quote from the Rambam, Hilchot Arachim והחרמים, chapter 2. הדרן הלך פרק 13 שופרות.